Hello fellow duelists, this is Shadow of the Moon, and today I'm going to be doing an updated Raidraptor deck profile for you guys for January of 2021. I did update this a little bit, obviously since there's no support that has come out recently for Raidraptors except for the spell card Wing Requital, which is in this deck. There hasn't really been a lot of changes to it, just a few things here and there. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight on into it. Alright, so first, you've got 3 copies of your Tribute Lanius. You can run 1 in here or just run 2 if you choose to. I never have a problem with running 3. I don't brick with it. But that's just personal preference in my opinion. So basically what Tribute Lanius does is during your main phase, if this card was normal or special summoned this turn, you can send a Raidraptor card from your deck to the graveyard. So that is very important to understand because this is going to allow you to put Mimicry Lanius in the graveyard, which if you don't know what he does, he can be banished to add a Raidraptor monster from your deck to your hand. So he's very good for consistency and being able to get those Raidraptors in your hand so that you can keep going with your plays. Because Raidraptors swarm almost as fast as Blackwings do, which is basically what it is. Raidraptors were meant to be more of like a new age Blackwing. I still prefer those Blackwings, but I mean, hey, I love the Raidraptors. I love the archetype. It is so cool. So we've got these 2. Then we've got 3 copies of Strangle Lanius. Keep in mind though that if you activate his effect, it is going to lock you into the dark archetype. So you have to have dark. You have to be able to have the dark archetype if you're using this deck. I do have a Cyber Dragon Infinity in here, but it is if by some chance I don't pull this, I can still use that. So what this guy does is if you have a dark monster on the field, you can special summon this from your hand, which is very valuable. This is going to be another, or if you have a dark Exceed monster, you can dark monster, you can special summon this from your hand. So that's going to really help you with the deck to be able to start swarming and everything. And then probably one of the best cards in this deck, in my opinion, and why you want to see 3 of these, Raider's Wing. Raider's Wing, if you control an Exceed monster, you can detach a material from it to special summon this from the graveyard or your hand. That is what makes this card so viable, is being able to special summon this from the graveyard. So you can send this to the graveyard using some effect, and then being able to get this back. Also, the monster that is used as Exceed material is using this card cannot be targeted by card effects. So that is bonkers to be able to, it protects your monster from being destroyed and targeted by card effects. Obviously, it's not unaffected by card effects, so if they do like a Regeki or a Lightning Storm or something, it's going to destroy it, but I mean, it does protect it against the normal effect. Then we have 3 copies of Mimicry Lanius. Mimicry is the main objective is to get this guy in the graveyard as fast as possible so you can banish him to add a Raidraptor monster from your deck to your hand. That is the main reason why he's in here. And then 3 copies of Vanishing Lanius. Vanishing Lanius is going to give you that extra special summon. If this card was no more special summon, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Raidraptor monster from your hand. So that's going to help you get field presence. Then you've got 1 copy of Singing Lanius. If you control a Exceed monster, you can special summon this monster from your hand. So obviously it counts towards the level 4. And then 2 copies of Heal Eagle. Heal Eagle is not a level 4, but this is going to help you go into Y-Strix, which is why I have 2 copies in here. If you control a Raidraptor monster, at least 1, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can banish this card from the graveyard, then target a Raidraptor monster, Raidraptor spell, or trap in your graveyard, and add it back to your hand. So if you have the Raidraptor spell and traps, if you have like Raidraptor Readiness, or if you have the rank up stuff, you can add those back to your hand, as long as they're Raidraptor. Then we've got 3 copies of Pain Lanius. Pain Lanius is going to special summon itself if you control a Raidraptor monster, or if you control a Raidraptor monster, it'll special summon itself from the hand, and then you will take damage equal to whichever is lower, attack or defense. So it gives you another body to be able to go into your plays. And then that's it for the Raidraptors. Let's move on to the tech cards. So first we've got Zephros the Elite. He is not a Raidraptor, but he may as well be because of his effect. You bounce a card back to special summon him from the graveyard. He's very versatile and consistent in this deck because if you put him in the graveyard, you can get him back on the field and special summon it, and he's a level 4, which pretty much this deck focuses mainly and heavily on level 4s. Then we have the 2 Phantom Knights. You're going to have Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak and Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. This is going to be sent to the graveyard. This will allow you to add a Phantom Knights monster from your deck to your hand, and then if Silent Boots is sent to the graveyard, this is going to add a Phantom Knight spell and trap from your hand. Then we've got 3 copies of Effect Veiler. This is going to be your hand trap. You can have DD Crow, you can have whatever you want, Ash Blossom. I'm just running Effect Veiler in here because it was the cheapest hand trap, and this is still somewhat of a budget deck. This is, they activate a monster effect, you can discard this card, and then it negates the monster effect until the end phase of the turn. Okay, so that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's move on to the spells. So first, you're going to have 2 copies of Rank Up Magic, Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Force, one of the best rank up cards in this deck. This can go into Arsenal Falcon, this can go into Ultimate Falcon, this can go into pretty much anything in this deck that you need just by banishing the dark materials for it. Then you've got 1 copy of Phantom Knight's Rank Up Launch. This is going to help you go into Yuga, just like in my Blackwing deck. Obviously, this is the best way, or to go into a level 7 to a level 8, or a level 5 into a level 6. Such as being able to go into a level 4 into a level 5, or if you want to, you can, like I said before, you can go into mainly into Yuga for it. Then we've got 1 copy of Rank Up Magic Soul Shade Force. This is mainly in here for the Cyber Dragon Infinity combo that I have. Obviously, you have 4 Strix in the graveyard, you activate this effect, you pay half your life, you special summon 4 Strix, and then you overlay 4 Strix into Cyber Dragon Infinity, which will give you your negate. Then you're going to have 1 copy of Raidraptor Nest. This card, I wish, honestly, I wish I could put more in here because I love the effect. If you control 2 Raidraptor monsters, or 2 or more Raidraptor monsters, you can add a Raidraptor from your deck to your hand, so it's great for consistency. Unfortunately, only 1 is kind of the best choice right now for the deck, because even though you do run majority Raidraptors, it's going to just add it to your hand. If it were to special summon it, I'd say, dude, that's an amazing card. If you haven't checked, actually check out Raidraptor's Call. I believe that one is the one that allows you to special summon to the field. So if that's another option, that's something that you can totally do. And then 2 copies of this new Wing Requital. Ring Requital, if you control 2 or more monsters, or 2 Winged Beast monsters that are 2 different names, you can draw 2 cards by paying 600 life points. The only downside is you can only activate this once per turn, so it's not as viable and as good as Allure, in my opinion, or like Pot of Extravagance and everything. But this is still a great way to be able to go into your draw power, because you can get 2 cards, and obviously every card in this deck is going to be a different name, because you're not going to have like 2 of Raider's Wing or 2 of Strangleonius or whatever. And then for the spells, we've got Raigeki, you've got your Harpy's Feather Duster, and you've got your Foolish Burial. This is going to destroy monsters. This is going to destroy spell and traps. If you want to replace it with the Lightning Storm, if you have a little bit more money, you can. And then Foolish Burial is going to be able to dump Mimicry Elanius into the graveyard to get your plays. And then lastly, you've got Monster Reborn to be able to special summon from the graveyard, you or your opponent's graveyard. Great little tech card, obviously. I always try to incorporate it in the deck. And then lastly, for the traps, we just have the Phantom Knight's Fogblade, and we have the Phantom Knights of Shade Brigading. This is going to give you your monster effect negate, and this is going to give you your standard level 4. Alright, so that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's move on to the monsters and traps and spells. Let's go move on to the extra deck. So first, we've got Ultimate Falcon. This is just like Full Armor Master. It's 500 points more, though, and it is even harder to get off the field because it actually has the potential to do 1,000 points of damage to your opponent and negate all of their face-up monster effects. So this is a very, very good tech card in this deck, not just in this deck, but in like a Blackwing deck, or even if you even want to put in a Lyricalist deck, there's actually a way to get him out that way. So, but with the Lyricalist support that we have nowadays, you don't really need to do that. But if you wanted to, that could be a choice. Then you have your DD King Yuga. This is going to be your standard board negate of everything that gets on the field. So he'll also be able to destroy Quick Effect, be able to destroy your opponent's spell and trap cards by detaching a material. Probably one of the best cards in this deck and in most of my Winged Beast decks that I'm able to actually put him in. Then you have Arsenal Falcon. This is going to be going into DD King Yuga. This allows you to special summon a level 4 from your deck by detaching a material. And then we have Raidraptor Revolution Falcon and Raidraptor Air Raid. So basically, this is your level 6. This is going to help you go into your Revolution Falcon. When this is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this from your extra deck. So this will allow you to go into rank up Phantom Knight's Force and go into Arsenal Falcon, and then being able to attach a material to go into DD King Yuga if you have the rank up magic launch. Then we've got the Arc Rebellion and the Raider's Knight. Obviously, this is going to be for a complete monster effect negate on your turn and increase its attack, but you're only able to attack with this monster, but this is more than enough to be able to OTK your opponent. Then we have the Dark Rebellion and Dark Requiem. This is going to be for your monster effect negate. This is going to be going into Dark Requiem XE Dragon. Then we have Cyber Dragon Infinity. Cyber Dragon Infinity is going to either negate your opponent's monster effect, quick effect, spell and trap effect, or it's going to allow you to steal your opponent's monster. So you can actually, it's not once per turn, you can't activate these effects once per turn. You can actually potentially still activate that, and then on your turn, you can steal your opponent's monster if they have one. Then you've got 2 copies of 4 Strix that you are running. The Raidraptor pack, you have everything in here as Raidraptor. You need 2 of these because this is going to help you increase the consistency of the deck, because you need to be able to go into all your level 4s. And then finally, for the Exceed, we've got the 2 Y-Strix to special summon your level 4s, and we've got the Rusty Bard each to be able to dump the Phantom Knights cards into the graveyard to add those Stone Traps onto the field or into your hand. Alright, so that's going to be it for this profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, it didn't get upgraded too much, only because other than Wing Requital, not really a whole lot has come out for this archetype, but it's still an amazing type deck. I love the deck because of how fast it is, how ridiculous it is, and just being able to go into all these plays. And it is, quite frankly, one of my favorite decks to play around with because of how fast it is. I mean, you can do so much with it, and being able to have Kali Yuga just makes it even worse, because you're not only stealing, Kali Yuga is not only negating your opponent's monster, all their effects, but it's basically keeping your opponent from being able to play anything. So yeah, it becomes quite an annoyance. And you can have whatever effect monster, you can have whatever hand trap you want. If you wanted Ash Blossom, obviously you're going to be having Ash Blossom. If you wanted Ghost Ogre, if you wanted DD Crow, that'd be completely up to you. Alright, so that's going to be it for this profile, and with that, I hope you enjoyed it. See you guys next time.